What improved your quality of life so much, you wish you did it sooner? Stop working more than 40 hours a week. Setting my own boundaries after realizing that when I didn't, people set them for me. Learning to get over myself. Nobody cares what I do. Nobody is looking at me, and why should I care if they are? Nobody outside my circle has enough context to make accurate judgments about how I live, so why am I trying so hard to justify my decisions? As soon as I adopted that mindset, being alive got significantly less shitty. I do my best to be a decent person and to take care of myself, and the only opinions I care about are mine, my partner's, and my therapist's. Going to the gym. Used to be a miserable fat bastard, but after 3 months of going to the gym, I've lost about a stone and feel so much better. Permanently placed my phone on Do Not Disturb, allow calls from contacts. This one change saved me from constant disruptive unwanted calls. Life is good on no ring lane. Breathing exercises. Focusing on really deep exhales. After about 10 minutes my whole outlook for the day changes. Cutting out toxic friends. After years of knowing someone, it can be hard to see that they are no longer the person they were when the relationship started. My childhood best friend grew into a manipulative, selfish prick. For years I hung out with him almost every day after work and always felt miserable afterwards. Everyone around me questioned why I still spent time with him. I always made excuses that seem ridiculous in hindsight. I should have cut ties 10 years ago. Yoga. I'm an old guy, and discovered it at age 56 in 2005. By now I'm still not terribly proficient, but yoga has kept me limber. More importantly, it has been amazing for improving my peace of mind. Whenever somebody asks why I practice yoga, I reply, for peace of mind. Independent blankets for my wife and I in bed. Incredible how much better you sleep when there's no waking up with blankets pulled half off or using one that's too heavy or too light. I'd highly recommend for anyone that sleeps with a significant other. Hiking in the mountains. Nothing makes me feel more at peace and excited at the same time. Flossing. I never saw the dentist as a kid, and no one really pushed me to or cared about my dental health. Eating healthy. It's amazing after you realize how much you feel like shit after you just took down a double cheeseburger, extra large fries, and a large Coke, but at the time, you don't realize it and just think you're tired. Good eating habits and exercising changed my life. Seeing a therapist. I stopped caring not everyone is gonna like you. All you need to do is like yourself. Roomba. OMG, not having to sweep dog, cat hair daily is such a blessing. I was very shy and self-conscious, but at some point I started just living how I wanted. I already wasn't popular, so what was I risking? Girls still wouldn't be interested? I guess I just started doing things I'd been afraid to do before, including being more outgoing. I know this sounds like generic advice, but it really worked for me. Every time your brain says, no, that wouldn't work out, or, no, what would people think, or any other version of, no, don't try, it's a perfect opportunity to do something you feel drawn to. Dye your hair pink. Try painting even though you know you'll suck at it. Fart and then say, it was me. Okay, maybe not the last one. Taking vitamin D supplements and getting a therapy lamp for the winter. Holy shit, does it make a difference. I realized after my first year of university that the reason I didn't do well in the winter semester was because I was feeling depressed and exhausted due to lack of sunlight. I live in Canada, so the days are way shorter in winter. So when you leave before the sun rises, get home after it sets and wear a coat all day so your skin is exposed to no sunlight, you miss a lot of vitamin D. So I take vitamin D supplements each morning to make up for what I'm missing, and I use a therapy lamp to simulate sunlight in the morning. You feel way more energized and awake during the day. I would highly recommend it to anyone who feels exhausted in winter. P.S. If you're interested in a therapy lamp, look up SAD lamp or seasonal affective disorder lamp. Cutting out alcohol. I don't criticize anyone who drinks, but I was a problem drinker. Stopping that cycle improved everything about my life. Learning to be okay with saying no, and starting off all relationships, personal and professional, with healthy boundaries. You don't ever need an excuse to say no to if you don't want to do something. Don't feel like going out with friends that night? No thank you. Don't want to work an extra shift at your place of employment if it's not mandatory? No thanks, boss. Boundaries are amazing, and when set from the beginning, they are much easier to maintain for your own mental well-being. Letting my pride and ego take hits. I used to have been such a me person in my early life. When I allowed myself to be taken down a peg or two, I started having new perspectives on life and people around me. Accepting at 28 that I was a very emotional guy and letting myself cry whenever I needed to. I swear I cried constantly for about a year straight, as if catching up on all the feelings I repressed my whole life. However, it tapered off about a year ago and it kinda sucks. It's as if I literally grew thicker skin through truly allowing myself to feel the painful things I felt, and it's become increasingly difficult to cry like I used to. It felt really good to just let everything out. Fixing my relationship with food. Portion sizes. Decimating junk food intake back where it should be. A rare treat. Increasing veggie intake. Limiting red meat. Limiting dairy. Limiting refined sugars. I haven't actually stopped anything 100% cold turkey, chocolate, crisps, candy, takeout etc. Cold turkey, in that I don't punish, scorn myself for buckling and having some, but I've just wound it back completely. It's been a major contributor of why I'm minus 20 kilograms than I was in January 2021. This is a change I made only a few months ago, but it's been major. I struggle with clinical depression and extreme executive dysfunction. Two conditions that exacerbate each other and have taken a lot of time out of my life the past 20 years. I've been doing better but still experience long periods of time when I'm barely functioning, and it's a miracle if I can even make it out of the house, let alone do anything productive. My therapist is a big advocate of being kind to oneself, and in theory that's the mentality we all should have. There's no reason to punish ourselves when we're already struggling. But for me, the idea that I should be kind to myself is far too easy to corrupt. As in, I'm not going to clean my kitchen because I'm tired, and the kind thing is to let myself sleep for 15 hours or watch Netflix. It's really not kind to let myself do that, and it only makes me feel much worse, both physically and mentally, but it's way too easy to fall into that trap and make it a habit. But on the same token, constantly valuing productivity over rest is the other nasty end of that spectrum. I burn myself out being overly productive, and then have no time for creative pursuits or fun things or resting, and then I inevitably crash and end up right back in the pit of depression where I started it. It's simply not sustainable. Finally, my therapist came up with a narrower concept to follow. Is what you're doing right now the restorative thing? Somehow this was the key for me. Every day, I ask myself if I'm doing something restorative, and if I'm not, I go do something that is. Most of the time, it's something productive or creative, and when it's not, I'm doing something fun or restful. There are times when lying in bed watching Netflix is the restorative thing, but usually I find the answer is somewhere else, and I'm much happier and more functional for it. I cut my mother out of my life a few years ago, and I wish I had done it as soon as I moved out, just as I did to my father. My life has been so much better since she hasn't been in it. I feel better about myself, I'm not being treated badly, and I can do what I want without fearing judgment. I'm glad I never reconciled, either. From what I hear from siblings, she hasn't changed a bit. She still has to be right all the time, she still lies about shit, and she still pulls authoritarian bullshit. I've pretty much written her off. She has 7 years left to come to me, apologize for the nasty shit she did, take responsibility for aforementioned actions, and prove she has changed or is in the process. But if she doesn't do that within the next 7 years, there's no way in hell I'd reconcile with her. Guided breathing videos like Wim Hof and Soma breathwork. Great little 10 to 20 minutes meditation for people who can't turn their thinker off like me. Money. And I really don't mean to be a smartass. The difference between a life with no financial stress versus a life with financial stress is breathtaking. Seeing both poverty and financial success has made me realize just how unfair life is for those with little money. The system really has to change. Working out. Amazing what it does to your mind. My mood improves instantly when I work out. Bought my first house. Something about having your own home that you can do anything you want with that's extremely liberating and awesome. Especially if you're even slightly handy with a hammer and drill and basic homeowner DIY tools. Disclaimer. If you've never bought a home yet, do not buy in this insane market. Wait for it to get back to normal. Walking every day. I used to live with my mom in her home and my dog would just go to the yard, but now that I live in an apartment and need to walk my dog at least twice a day is kind of nice. A night guard. I grind my teeth so much at night, Dentist said probably due to stress, that I was damaging my teeth and developing huge, tight jaw muscles. Night Guard not only saved my teeth, I swear I sleep better and am so much more relaxed. If I don't wear it I notice it the next day. Wish I knew this years ago. Talk to your dentist. Cinnamon toothpaste. My whole life I had mint toothpaste, and I hated the taste so much I gag. So when I felt depressed or lazy, well, I just wouldn't do it. Cinnamon toothpaste tastes just like less spicy hot tamales candy, and I brush my teeth so much more often now, and I have a less shitty start to my day than gagging on the overwhelming taste of mint. Fixing my posture. So many pains went away with just standing straight. No more back pains or aches. The hard skin on my feet even cleared up. Deleting all social media. I don't care about other people's lives or what they look like all cutesy posed for a picture. Stop having toxic friends, and avoiding toxic family members. My life has improved exponentially since then. Making a really healthy smoothie for breakfast every morning. I can't believe the difference that one, small, easy change has made. Getting married. I put it off a long time after a bad divorce and raised my kids on my own. Just could not think of having to take care of another person on top of working and 2 little kids. Got married after they left for college. Should have done it a lot sooner. I don't take care of him near as much as he takes care of me. Life is a lot easier. Don't get me wrong. I do my share just half now since I have a helper. Leaving my sociopath of a wife. Within 1 year I had a great job and bought a home for the first time in over 20 years. No more renting. Within 3 years I had bought my first new car in over 20 years, was able to save money, met a great woman who respects me, and got an even better job making way more than I ever had. Cut toxic people out of your life. Point the blame squarely where it belongs. With yourself for allowing people to do this to you, and move on to finally helping yourself. I am getting married to a wonderful woman who has her own money, job, and assets. She doesn't need me for anything, she wants to be with me. Still don't know why. Lol. She had caused me to sink into deep depression where I couldn't imagine life any other way. When I finally pulled myself out of it and opened my eyes, the path was clear and the decision easy. But I never dreamed I could do it so quickly. She had me thinking I was worthless. Apparently I am quite the opposite. I now have self-respect. Being okay with and embracing being introvert. Life is so much easier when you accept that you just don't need as much social interaction as extroverts, and you want more alone time. It's much less wearing when you don't constantly have to force yourself to be something you are not. And actually, if you are completely honest about it to other people, I don't want to see you today, because I just want to be alone, they totally understand it. It's much better than forcing you out of comfort zone and then acting weird in front of people. And the best part. When you embrace it you can actually become much stronger than extroverts. You know when to lay it low, you know when to shut up, but when you do say something, people take their time to listen to you and value your opinion. I just started eating better and drinking less at 44 yo. I have lost 50 pounds, and I feel 20 years younger. It is like I have a new life. I fit into a large shirt this week, which I have not been able to since high school. It feels like I burned a decade or two, but now I have a chance to feel good again. Instead of trying to look for friends, I started to join activity groups where I meet people with shared interests. Making friends is much more natural this way. Learning to keep my opinions to myself at least some of the time. No matter how strongly I might feel about something, unless truly relevant, there is no need to unload on everyone in vicinity. You don't get friends and you don't get respect by forcing your opinions on others. Getting help for undiagnosed ADHD. I lived the better part of my life just thinking I was less intelligent than other people. I didn't learn to tie my shoes until I was 12. I could never pick up as fast on things as other people seemed to and always managed to misplace things. I would pick up hobbies obsessively for a month or two, get bored and then move on. I could never seem to focus on any one particular thing and zoned out a lot during conversations. Then one day I realized things were not normal when I started losing more important things and forgetting major events. I went to my PCP and told him my symptoms and he referred me to a psychologist. I was diagnosed with ADHD and just went on medication for it this week. It's a total night and day difference and implore anyone who might be in my same boat to seek treatment. Putting the fan on my feet when I'm in bed. I run really warm. I'd always just suffered in socks with hot feet. My GF said one day, just take them off. Holy hell. Game changer. Then she told me to put the fan on them. Oh my god, the relief. It amazes me every day that I just dealt with it. Going back to school. Don't get me wrong. I loved driving my school bus and the kids on the routes, but I'm so happy to have started this new chapter. And to know I'll be making more money when I get through with my program. Going to therapy and learning how to healthily cope with past traumas. Crazy how much better life's gotten since I learned to combat negative thoughts with positive ones. Basic coping skills for anxiety. One example is drive a box truck as part of my job, and every day I used to be like fuck, hopefully I remember how to drive this box truck so I don't crash and lose my job and lose my house and etc etc etc. Now I can tell myself, hey, it's been fine every day for years, and even if something did happen it can be dealt with. I still have anxiety, I am always going to have anxiety, but it doesn't crush me like it used to. Do 25 push-ups before and after a shower. Start off with 5 and do it for 30 days, build from there. Difference equals shoulders get pushed back, better stance, broader, chest get lifted, flatter stomach. Don't think too much about it. Start small from tomorrow, but just start for 7 days. It's 2/3 of a minute and results are noticeable. Do it. Stop looking at my phone directly before bed and I realized how much better I slept plus how much more sleep I was able to get. Getting a dog. He's been the best thing that has ever happened to me and I am so glad he is in my life. OB hopping. I went from $60K to $150K in salary within a 5-year span versus the 3 years I spent in that initial $60K job with no raises and no job stability. I worked in consumer goods before moving to tech and finance. Journaling every day. It's been almost a year now, and the benefits to committing just 10 minutes of your day to a simple task like writing has made me a force to be reckoned with in some sense. It's improved my critical thinking unimaginably. Made me a more creative person. Helped me with my mental health as I don't rely on anyone to vent to, which in turn has made my relations with friends and family a million times better than what they were this date 1 year back. I've learned to keep more calm because no matter how frustrated or angry I feel at something, I know I'll curse my heart out that evening before bed and that makes me feel better instantly. I recommend it to all my friends endlessly and I promote the same to you too, friend. Meal planning. It gives you so much time back and the knowledge that you have backup food just in case. Quitting weed. I've been off it for 6 weeks and I've already submitted a short story to a journal. Applied for 5 jobs, 2 of which I'm moving to the next stage of the hiring process, and finished a sewing project that I had started months ago. Before, I was too satisfied with what was comfortable, too anxious to try new things, and too unfocused to finish what I'd start. I'm really proud of who I've become since I quit. Investing $25,000 in my smile. Invisalign and whitening for the bottom. Implants and zirconium crowns for the top teeth. The hardest thing to adjust to since getting the work done was stopping myself from covering my mouth when I laugh or smile. For the first time in 15 years my teeth don't hurt and my smile is straight and white, and most importantly the work I had done has improved my confidence, self-esteem and my overall oral health. Realizing my parents, who both lost a parent at a young age, raised us to the best of their ability. My dad grew up in an abusive family and brought that to the game. My mother was the oldest of 7 kids and felt alone and abandoned. When I realized that, I was then able to forgive them for hurting me because they didn't know any better. I raised my son very differently. I am a creative person. I want to make things. It took me years to realize this. Problem is, I am completely incapable of developing certain skills. Various types of drawing and painting, no matter how much I practiced, I never improved. I couldn't create what I wanted to. Never to the quality I wanted. Even though it was a passion of mine, it was a constant source of aggravation. Outside of this narrow band, I never considered other creative outlets. That was until I tried to make my own board game. I could make passable art, but the realization of how much I enjoyed writing the lore, creating factions. It slowly transitioned into trying other forms of writing. And I had an epiphany. It's not so much the destination, but the journey traveled. And I'm much happier writing than I ever was with a pencil or paintbrush. Even if my writing sucks ass. Saving money early. Saving early, even a little bit, is much better than saving lots of money late. Simple math can prove that, too. But I was too stubborn and impulsive to really give it thought until a few years ago. Fortunately, I make decent money and the market has been going really well, but I could be in a much better position had I listened to my parents. Getting at least 8 hours of sleep every night. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments which habits changed your life